I find myself shopping in Whole Foods because it's closer to where I live. However, Trader Joe's is really really good, and I asked one of the cashiers.
Welcome, guys. Today we have a very special guest, Dave UOG from Brooklyn, New York, or
Yeah,
where?
BX from the
Okay.
Bronx.
But yeah, thank you so much for coming on. And yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself, like your age, where you're from, how's living in the Bronx.
Well, I'm in my thriving 30s. I'm 30 on the dot. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I made it. So now just ready to thrive in my new decade. Yeah, I grew up in the Bronx. I lived in a lot of places. I lived in Tallahassee, Florida, and Huntsville, Alabama, and I went to school down there as a child. But I was born in the Bronx, and I moved back to the Bronx at 12, and I've been in New York ever since.
Awesome, awesome. How was that transitioning, moving, and going to school in a different location and traveling back? Like, how was that like transition for you?
Oh man, it was one of those things where I always had to learn on the fly on the social dynamic, how people were. And I think it's benefited me as an adult because I'm able to mesh with pretty much anybody from a crackhead to a CEO of a company. I'm just able to talk to people and I've come across many walks of life. And this has helped me as far as my endeavor, as far as rapping and songwriting.
Yeah, I feel like within this field, you have to blend with a lot of different people and be able to go in between and like relate to the crackhead, like you said, all the way up to a CEO in business and be able to like go around and be able to relate and vibe with everyone in between. That's a really unique and perfect skill.
I know people who read books and take courses and stuff just to know how to deal with people better or how to not be so awkward because just people just have this social anxiety or they just don't know how to relate to people.
Just being like in that environment is such a leg up, and if you have that from the get-go, I feel like it's like already a leg up on most people. The first time we met, I feel like boom, instant like connection, like comfortability, like we vibed right away. I was so excited for you to come on and interview, and you have a very welcoming presence to you that we were able to relate, talk, even though after you just like
Yeah,
come off a performance and everything like that, like
yeah,
come
yeah,
down with like adrenaline and everything. It
yeah,
was really cool to experience.
yeah, man, yeah, man.
Outside of music, what are your hobbies and what do you love doing in your free time to settle down and relax from a stressful day or kind of get your mind off things?
I love to work out, do my breathing exercises, stretching. So my thing is movement is medicine, and it's helped me a lot. Where it's just decompressing. Working out is one of my main things. Cooking, I love cooking home cooked meals, especially vegan meals. I was strictly plant based vegan for 2.5 years.
Mm.
Nice to be in the kitchen like for 5 6 hours out the day and just enjoying it and just listening to music that wasn't hip hop related. I would listen to a lot of jazz, a lot of house music, and that would just set my mind to just another place. So cooking, working out, and I don't really have too many hobbies because the hobbies that I had, it just turned into something that, now, especially rapping and songwriting, writing lyrics, that was my main hobby, and it just turned to a greater love. Now I'm taking it as a career on another level. So
With cooking, I'm try to eat healthier and diet and also like start working out more and be more consistent. And a diet and working out coincide very heavily, like to better your body, to better your brain. You need a great diet along with the workout. How does those two things coincide and then flow into like your music process, if that makes sense? I don't know if that's like
yeah.
too clear of a question, but yeah, how do all three coincide together where they elevate like each craft?
Yeah, well, the digestive system is connected to I would say, to the higher realms in a sense where if you have an empty stomach or if you're eating clean, you can receive certain downloads. And that's why when people take psychedelics or plant medicine, you're supposed to take it on an empty stomach so you could be clear and just receive any information that's really meant for you. So the same thing with my writing process with writing lyrics. Like I did a 3 day fast recently. So I do a 3 day fast the first Thursday of every month. I've been doing it since December of last year. And for then, I would do this intermittent fasting, and I wouldn't eat till like 12 o'clock. I kid you not, bro. The times that I'm not eating, I have more willpower. I have more means of concentration because I'm not distracted by what's going on in my stomach. So then I may have a herbal drink. I don't necessarily drink coffees, but I'll occasionally have a coffee or whatever, and then I'll just get to writing, and then I can listen to a beat on an empty stomach, listen to a beat, and then in about 2 hours, I have the hook, the verses, the intro, the bridge. I have everything, and it's complete. So that's pretty much has been, as far as me eating clean and fasting, keeping my digestive system healthy. That's really been helping me, as far as receiving the downloads, if you will. Because I don't take it for granted. I find it incredible how artists like myself, I'm looking at it from an objective point of view. Like, I find it incredible how we could just write something on the fly. You know what I'm saying? Things that people love to listen to on a regular basis, like a full length song. It could take days, weeks, even months. But then for you to write a song within an hour or two, I find it amazing. And the fact that I have that ability now, I always had it, but it was like sparks of it, you know? But now I know how to tap into myself based on the way I'm taking care of myself and knowing the algorithm of my body and my biological clock. Oh, it's just taking my creativity to another level.
That's amazing. Come again while doing like more interviews and talking with creatives and everything. And it's crazy how powerful that subconscious creative aspect of it, even though your conscious may not always be thinking or may always be thinking of music, creating lines, beats, and everything. But I feel like that subconscious is powerful. And I feel the way that you're treating your body, taking care of your body, focusing on, hey, like if my body is healthy, then that means like your brain is also going to be healthy, which creates subconscious, exactly like everything that you just said. That's really cool to hear of you just absorbing your entire body to uplift your subconscious, where you're allowed to edit more freely and in a faster pace, but also like that faster pace is creating wonderful music. Because when I was listening to your music and everything, holy shit, your early stuff till now, it was like mixed brilliantly. Like the songwriting process was amazing. I was editing the footage and everything on flowing. I had the music in the background and I was just wonderfully like crafted throughout.
Oh man, greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. Before getting into your music, because I definitely have a lot more questions about the music aspect. I had a few
Yeah.
questions about that were just sparked up with your food making. What is your favorite meal to prepare? And when you make food, do you create bulk for the week, where it's like you have dishes that you can bring out of the refrigerator, bake, and then you're prepared for that entire week? What's your favorite meal? And then do you create in bulk?
I would answer it this way. My favorite meal to make, this is vegan piece of recipe that I have. Like, it'll take me maybe 3 hours to prepare it. I have the dough, the vegetables. My toppings are pretty much mushroom, green peppers, red peppers, maybe onions. I have like no more than maybe four toppings, maybe some plant-based vegan sausage with no soy, just like the base is eggplant and mushroom. And then, so the vegan pieces, like I make these, I haven't made it in a while, but that's like my favorite dish to make. But I say the dish that I make in bulk is this. I have this garbanzo bean recipe. The garbanzo beans is bussin', and I just put the right seasonings and chop up the onions, the tomatoes, or whatever, and then put some kale in it, and then it lasts me for about 4 or 5 days. Because I'm so busy, and it's important for me to make in bulk, so I could just spread it throughout the week, and I don't have to be cooking all the time. Because if you eat in a certain way, and if you don't make home cooked meals, you're gonna spend a lot of money.
100%.
You're gonna spend a lot of money.
I was just about to ask too, where do you get your ingredients from? Because one, like it's difficult to find a good natural based ingredient where it's healthy, and then also the prices nowadays with inflation, it just keeps going up and up and up. Where do you grab
Yeah.
all your ingredients and food to make?
Yeah, I find myself shopping in Whole Foods because it's closer to where I live. However, Trader Joe's is really really good, and I asked one of the cashiers. They have a great energy there. There, everyone seems to be happy working there, and they just treat the employees much better as a company. And I asked one of the cashiers. I said, "Man, why your prices are so inexpensive?" And he told me that they don't pay for marketing.
Mm.
So because they don't pay for marketing, they don't necessarily have to spike up their prices. I'm like, wow, that makes sense. So it's more of a family farm oriented type of ordeal, and Trader Joe's is really good. Like out of convenience, I will go to Whole Foods because they're the next one up because they have a 365 brand in Whole Foods where it's inexpensive. I mean, sunflower seed butter could be, or sesame seed butter, the tahini butter, that can be $12, but the 365 brand could be half that,
Mm.
But Trader Joe's is just, their prices is just so great, especially with inflation and everything going up. The prices pretty much stay the same.
That's amazing. I
Yeah,
love shopping at Trader Joe's because there's a couple near where I live in Philly. And yeah, like
yeah,
I love their business plan of treating like their employees right. Because if you treat your employees right, you're going to get a lot more loyal customers. It's going to be the employees are actually going to want to work there, and it's crazy of like just providing that like atmosphere is going to create a product that I don't understand why other corporations don't. Not that Trader
yeah.
Joe's is as big as those corporations, but it's I don't understand why corporations don't incorporate what Trader Joe's does in their community.
Yeah, yeah, for real. I mean, Whole Foods used to be the same to a certain extent until Jeff Bezos bought it. And
Mm.
then it just became about numbers, numbers, numbers instead of about people, people, people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The work culture has changed drastically, and it's complete night and day with Trader Joe's and Whole Foods.
Yeah, because I definitely noticed that about Whole Foods because I was born in Lancaster and there was a couple Whole Foods that were recently built when I was like younger. And from how the Whole Foods were then and then after Jeff Bezos and Amazon bought it, it's just like night and day and crazy switch of corporation and capitalist ideals tainting what a good customer first business should have looked like. And also too, I notice it's really interesting with creatives like yourself and different creative aspects. There's always want to be creative in whatever they love to do, whether it's like music, and then it's you also are creative within the food that you make and your workout
Yeah.
process and everything. Does having multiple creative outlets provide like a creative release to better jump off of each other? It's kind of similar question, but do like when you find like a different creative release with cooking, does that elevate your songwriting process? I don't know if that's too similar to the question I asked before.
Oh no, 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 no. This it feels
Okay.
different. The way I'm hearing it is different. Yeah, I will say to a certain extent, yeah. Because the thing is, so this is technique that I learned from Pat Patterson. He wrote the Essential Songwriting Tools book, teached at Berkeley College. I believe I have his name right, Pat Patterson. And he mentioned in his book about the process of object writing. So with object writing, you pretty much write about anything. You'll take an object and then you'll take maybe a rock and then you'll write about that rock and then you'll just expound on it as far as the details, how firm it is, how soft it looks, and then it correlates to other things. So the same thing with cooking. I mean, I said in the lyric, and this was because I like making smoothies. So I said in the lyric, this was years ago. I was like probably 18 when no, I was younger than that when I wrote it. I said, but our friendship is primary, sex is secondary. She stays away from small dreams, small as blueberries.
Nah. Yo, that's such a good lyric.
Yeah,
I love it. It
yeah.
flows so well. Meaning behind it is amazing.
Yeah, I see it. Yes, so stays away from small dreams, size of blueberries. Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Word. So just things like that helps the creative process. Because as creators, I feel like we're always, even if we're not consciously thinking it, subconsciously we're always creating something, and it's in the back of our heads, and then it just comes out when we're just tuning in.
Exactly, exactly. When I'm like video editing or doing a creative outlet, when I realize that I'm like editing for a little too long of amount of time and I get overly exhausted and I don't feel as like, creative, so I like jump to videography or I jump to like one of my other creative outlets. Do you get that sense of like if
Yeah.
you are working on songwriting or producing and mixing, or if you're like cooking for a long extent of time, does your mind ever get unmotivated or like tired of that singular thing? And if you like jump from cooking to music, does it like elevate? Do you get that burst of energy back of okay, guy was able to take a step back from music for a little bit, explore, do cooking, and then that
Well,
elevates like my music again of all right, I was able to step back for half the day, a day, an hour, and then I'm able to
yeah.
get that energy back. Do you have that sense?
I'm fortunate enough to not really experience those lows. I'm busy. My schedule's busy throughout the week. So I guess the time that, like, I have to be mindful of the time that I have to carve out to sit down and write a song. And I think that's why I've been so in touch with writing songs within a certain period of time because I know how busy my schedule is, and plus I have to make the time to actually rehearse it too.
Mm,
Because with lyrics, I'm a lyricist, and it's not what you say; it's how you say it. You know.
mm.
So I say, okay, I got this song, wrote it in 2 hours, but it's gonna take me about maybe a week or two to rehearse it and to get comfortable with it. And with every song that I have, it's a certain spirit that I find within those lyrics. And then when I find that energy, that spirit, then it becomes this thing in its own, within itself. So when I'm with my schedule, like if I'm stuck at a song, I pretty much flow into it. So if I'm pretty much stuck at a song, I'll just leave it to the side and be like, hey, I wrote enough. Or there was a song that I was writing and I had a workout session 8 in the morning and it was 1 o'clock in the morning and I wanted to finish it, but I'm like, I'm gonna need some sleep. So I was like, I'm gonna put this off to the side. Once I listen to the beat a couple of times, the whole entire thing, I put in my head, okay, I feel the direction of where I'm going. I wrote the first verse, I have most of the hook. So I said I could leave it for later, and just get back to it. So when it stops, and then I'll just get back to it. I never find myself forcing it. And then when I never find those things where I have like a writer's block or anything like that, thankfully. And because what I learned, even as a songwriter, even if there's lyrics that I'm not necessarily feeling or I feel like they're garbage, they'll say, I'll say, man, this is pure shit. It's like I look at it, it's like, hey, this is fertilizer. This is fertilizer for my soil, for my songwriting soil to grow some crops, grow some beautiful flowers. So I just keep writing. I just keep writing, and then even if it's 8 bars, 16 bars a day or whatever, I just keep writing, and then just one thing leads to another.
I love to hear that. And that also begs the next question because I'm interested on how spirituality comes into play with that. Because while I was kind of doing like a little deep dive on your Instagram and everything, I saw that you love to travel and acupuncture. Yeah, I think I said that.
Acupuncture, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And I was
yeah.
just reading some of your descriptions and everything, and I got a sense of that you're very into tune with your spirituality. What does that entail for you, and like what does that mean for you, and how does that flow within your music?
Wow, that's a good question. What does that entail for me? Well, I feel as though as men, as we get older, like I heard something that was really interesting, and basically, it was implying that the world gives sympathy to women, babies, and dogs.
Mm,
And I feel like for us as men, it could be we can have a lot of pressure on us. We could, depending on how you view it. And then it could be very lonely. It could be a very lonely being a man on your purpose and as you're climbing up the ladder of success. So with that, spirituality has helped me to have the awareness that I'm not alone.
mm,
There's something on the other side that's supporting me. I'm supported by this angelic team that is helping me and giving me guidance along the way. So when I do my prayers or whatever, that I have these simple reminders, or even if I'm going about my day and I have a certain thought, and then I'll see an angel number 222 or 444, 555. Just these strong indicators, these epiphanies as a reminders, like, hey, you do have the support, keep going, you're protected, and you'll meet the people in the physical, you'll meet the people who you need to meet and to assist you and you assist them. I feel like what comes around goes around. I believe in reciprocity, you know what I mean? So I'm not only looking for people to help me, I was like, how can I be an assistance to you? Because we're in this together for this thing called life.
mm,
But the spirituality part, I was listening to, but I listened to Reverend Knight, Bob Proctor, Napoleon Hill, Nikola Tesla is another guy. He has this thing of the language of the universe, I believe, where it's energy, frequency, and vibration. Bob Proctor talks about it a lot too. So for me, as far as the spirituality, I just maintain my high. And my high is making sure that I'm high on my energy, high on my frequency. So I'm making sure that I'm doing things that I love, that I'm joyous, that I'm happy, that I have gratitude. Gratitude is an important piece because even if you feel low in life, you still have to be grateful for that moment of it may not be the best circumstances, but you have to be grateful for the circumstances regardless because it's teaching you something and you're living through it. You're never stuck. You may feel stuck, but you're never stuck because there's always something after the next. There's always something after the next. Never to stay still. Everything is vibrating. So keeping my frequency high, my vibration, make sure I'm vibrant. It's a lot of responsibility, it's one of those things where you have to discernment of who you talk to, how much energy you exchange with, as far as even conversations, definitely with sexual encounters. When you have this awareness, you just have to be responsible. With great power comes great responsibility. And what's so interesting about spirituality, in my opinion, is once you see something, you can't unsee it.
Mm. Yeah,
You
100%.
know, so you can't unsee it. So I've learned a lot, but the main thing for me is to maintain my high. I just have to make sure that I just protect my energy at all costs because I'm living in New York and it's just people who are not in tune with all of that stuff. And, you know, people will definitely bring you down before you can bring them up.
Mm.
And it's so interesting because I've been in quite a few circumstances and literally had no money. Like, you know what I'm
Mm.
saying? I may be borrowing, whatever, but it's like energy, I feel like energy is the real currency. And people will still envy you. People will still hate on you because you have this surplus of good energy. So it's like no matter what you go through, you're going to overcome it because of who you are.
Mm.
Yeah.
I agree with that so much. And as you were talking, I was like, yes, yes, yes. Because it's like it's crazy how much like energy and if you're in tune with that and with my spirituality, I relate with that so much. And it's crazy how much you can feel other people's energies. And the first initial like time you're talking with them and meeting with them, you can feel those energies. And it goes all entwined. My ideal is like if I genuinely help people out and everything. Well, I don't know really how to explain it, but it's I find my most gratifying moments of being a creative and talking with other people and having our energies intermix. And it's so hard to get a leg up and like start making a name for yourself within this creative field and just like life in general, no matter what you're doing. It's so much on the backs of helping each other out. This is what I can provide for you. When I help someone out, I don't ever like expect anything in return and everything, but it's like,
Right.
you know the people going back to when we first met, like I got this vibe from you right away. It's, I want to help you and I want to like help you as a creative. And then I got that feeling of even though I want to do this thing for you because I'm like, I know you're going to be great. Then it's like, I scratch your back, you scratch my back. And it's just that energy of like helping each other as creatives and growing as human beings. And that like aspect is so powerful, so much responsibility to entail and so interesting to feel other people's vibes and really amazing to hear you describe from your point of view on that subject because I couldn't relate more.
Yeah, yeah, man. Like I've been intentionally working on my energy and making sure I'm high on energy, frequency, vibration, is speaking more of the language of the universe. I keep meeting people like yourself where y'all say the same thing. Like, I just want to help this guy. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's just a testament of me doing the work and wanting to help myself.
Yes,
You know
yes.
what I mean? And it's the beautiful thing of law of attraction. One of the things I learned, and I keep on embodying this, it's inner than it's outer. You work on yourself, what's going on inside of you and here is going to manifest on external. And I've been having great energy and been harnessing that, cultivating that, and I've been meeting some awesome people, some awesome personalities. So that's something that I don't take for granted because I really worked for it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I definitely felt that. And it's like amazing to hear just like your journey of getting to this point because it's definitely a process and it's definitely a lot of self care that a lot of people, even myself, I'm still trying to get a grasp on. If you don't heal yourself or don't focus on yourself getting better, then it affects your outer energy, the way that you like present yourself and everything of just becoming a better human being and everything. And
Yeah.
quick side note, I'm so sorry. I'm taking care of my sister's dog, so if you hear like snorts or little barks and stuff, she's just like outside the door right now, like sniffling and trying to hear on the conversation. So I apologize.
That's all good.
Sorry for getting sidetracked because I just didn't want you to hear be like little like she like oinks or like
Yeah,
whines
and
a
I hear
little
the
bit like
car. Yeah.
yeah. She just wants to come in and see what's up and everything. But yeah, that's why I was like instantly when I met you again, like I felt your energy right away, and it was just amazing to feel so connected to you, even though I never met you before, and I never
Yeah.
like that was the first time I met you a couple weeks ago, and I instantly felt the connection of like I knew you for like years, and it was like crazy, like crazy
Yeah, man.
experience.
I've been getting that a lot, man. I kid you not. I just, it's been incredible. I feel like this is a cosmic reunion. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And just meeting people who I've met in the past life, and they be like, "Yo, man, I know you from somewhere." I told one guy, I said, "Maybe it's a past life thing, man." Yeah,
Most
yeah,
definitely,
real
most
talk, real
definitely.
talk. But it's good. I'm a firm believer in the vibe. Your vibe attracts your tribe. That's one of my favorite quotes.
Most definitely, most
Yeah.
definitely. I couldn't agree more. When did you start developing music? And how did developing music kind of start for you?
Well, I had my first piano recital at 8 years old, so that was a phenomenal experience. Yeah, I was about 8 or 9 years old, and people came. It was in this church, and I had my piano teacher, and we rehearsed, and then when it was amazing. Like I still remember it to this day, just that moment, and that was pretty much my first musical experience. I was always into writing. I still have my journals because in class in my first and second grade, no, I believe I was in the first grade or the second grade. I still have my journals from that time
Mm,
and my teachers giving me feedback. Yeah, I still have my journals from the first and second grade. So I always enjoyed writing and enjoyed my teachers' feedback and whatnot. And so then I had my piano recital as a child, and then I started really writing lyrics when I was 12. Started going into the studio about 15, and then 17, 18 years old, I really started. I had a McDonald's shop, and then I started. We was getting paid minimum wage. It was 7.25 at the time, and I was still living with my mother. So I've spent a lot of that money into the studio and just perfecting my sound, working on my craft. I'm just so glad I did it at the time because I never thought it would take me this far. Maybe I never thought I'd be doing this for this long.
mm, mm,
But it's just a certain love, and then I'm probably writing some of my best material.
mm.
My best material. I mean, I'm performing, and the way what people are saying is giving me the indication, like, man, like this is some heavy stuff. I have to put this out because the way I've taken care of myself, the way my spirit is, how people are gravitating to my energy and everything, along with the lyrics that I'm writing, it just feels like it's time. It just feels like it's time to really take it to another level. I'm just around great energy to the people who just want to see me win.
Most definitely,
Yeah.
most definitely. I love that start. How many hours were you in the studio when you were like 15 and everything? And how did you kind of manage that time being so young and then also working and doing school and everything? How did you were able to do all of that at once? Because I feel like even now you're always busy. And it sounds like you're always busy or like on to the next. Like how do you manage
Yeah.
that young to now?
Well, at 15, 16 years old, like I remember, man, I remember, and the engineer, he gave me grace because I guess how young I was. I was in the studio with one of my cousins, and it was only a 16-bar verse. He did his verse in about 30 minutes. We got there around 8 o'clock. We didn't leave till like 2 in the morning because I was stuck on my verse. On a
Mm,
16-bar verse, working on
mm,
it for about 3, 4 hours.
dang.
So yeah, yeah, yeah. And so I remember spending so much time. Engineers had a lot of patience with me. And they'd be like, hey man, we'll get it another time, or they say, we're gonna get this right. But I would spend so much time on just on the verse.
Mm,
How I knew I had something was when I had this cipher. I was a part of the cipher in 2012. I'll never forget it. When one of my engineers, she was working on this college project. I was still in high school, and she said, "Would you like to be a part of the cipher? Whatever. We're gonna film it. This because she's a part of this videography team." I said, "All right, cool." Man, I just seized that opportunity. I was so excited. I wrote that verse. I was freestyling the verse because it was on the Gangstar Mass Appeal beat. I was freestyling the verse, but the verse was sounding so good to me. I said, "Let me write this down." I'm 18 years old. I wrote down the verse. At the time, when I was in high school, in my senior year of high school at the time in the Bronx, people was getting killed over Jordans, over these they call them Concords. So I put in the lyric, and I gotta recall it. It's gonna come back to me. But I remember putting in the lyric like Jordan's Concords, like is it really worth killing for? Like that type of thing. Like,
mm,
are we really doing this? And I'm 18 years old.
mm,
And I remember when I laid down that verse, it took me about 20 minutes.
mm,
So then from there, that's how I knew I had said something, and the reception of it. Oh man, that was just leading up to the mixtape that I released the year after that. So it took some time. It definitely took some time, but the more I failed, the more I had this desire to succeed. And I don't know what pulled me to it, as far as me wanting to rap. But I think it was just at the time me being competitive. I'm still competitive, but I'm competing with myself, and I was competitive, and I just wanted to be good at it. and I love doing it, but I just want to sound good. I just wanted to be good at it. So I was just at that time and space where I can invest my time and energy into it, and it just took it. It just kept progressing.
I just love hearing that because what I've heard is just like following your passion is just like such a wonderful thing to like hear, and like the process of following that passion and everything. What are your music influences like when you were growing up to like now? Did your music influences like change, and who are you kind of listening to since you started to develop music to present day?
Well, growing up, I listened to a lot of gospel.
Mm,
Because my parents were 70 Adventists. They still are. And so I listened to a lot of gospel in my household. So it was Donnie McClurkin, Smokey Norfolk, the Winans, Yolanda Adams, Kurt Franklin, big in our home. The R&B, I heard a little bit of R&B. So it was Stevie Wonder, Anita Baker, Elder Barge, Peebo Bryson was really big in our home, and James Ingram. Then as I started listening to rap at 12, I used to sneak to listen to rap
mm,
songs or whatever. And my top five at the time, at 13, 14 years old, it was Big Busta Rhymes. Yeah, it was Busta
mm,
Rhymes, Big L,
mm,
Biggie Smalls, Tupac, and Nas.
mm,
Yeah. And I didn't necessarily hear a full length of their albums till like maybe 15. I remember the first time me listening to Illmatic, and I
mm,
heard "The World Is Yours" and It Ain't Hard to Tell, and I just had those two songs on repeat. But then when I heard the full length of the album, I never forget where I was. I was like, wow, you
mm.
know? And I remember because we used to have, remember LimeWire?
I do not. I do not. Oh no.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, it was LimeWire, and then it was another site. I think it was called FrostWire. But there was this at the time when I was coming up. We had these. It was these digital apps where we download it on our computers, and we'll download illegally. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? So we'll rip
yeah.
off the copy. So not illegally, but it was just we wasn't paying for the music. It was a site where they had the music that we wanted, and we could download it for free. Set up because at the time, like in 2006, 2007, people were still buying physical copies of albums, you
Mm,
know. But we were teens, so we didn't have no money, so we would have LimeWire, and then we'll download the music. So from that, I never downloaded. I mean, I never had listened to a full length album because I used to just download the songs. And it's funny because at the time I used to think, okay, what song sounds great? Because I'm still learning about hip hop music. So what song would sound great? So then I'll say, what made me download Nas was "The World Is Yours." I'm like, okay, the world is mine. Let me download that. Biggie Smalls, "Things Done Changed." I'm like, what has changed? Let me download that. You know what I'm saying? Everyday Struggle. I'm struggling. Let me listen to that. I
mm,
just remember being so young and just curious about what this rap thing was because I heard Busta Rhymes, "I Love My Chick" on the radio at 12, and I was fascinated by it. Just the way his cadence was, the way the song was structured, and then from there, it just grew into something else. Like Wu-Tang Clan was another one.
mm.
Cream. That song, I was only listening to that song for years. And then later on, I was listening to the album Into the 36 Chambers, but I didn't have no money to buy a lot of those records. So I was listening to it on YouTube or downloaded it on my phone. So that's pretty much, so that was my top five: Busta Rhymes, Nas, Biggie, Tupac, and Big L. And then as time progressed, me, of course, I have a bunch of influences, hip hop influences, and people who make note of Kendrick Lamar as far as his sound, Good Kid, Mad City, and To Pimp a Butterfly. But I feel like Good Kid, Mad City I feel like sonically was his best album because just the way his engineer, Ali, I believe his name was Ali, and Dr. Dre, that was his first album when he was working with Dr. Dre. I mean, even to this day, I just never forget when I had a PS3 at the time. I never forget where I was. I was actually working out. There was some things going on in my household, and I wanted to relieve the stress. I just bought the Kendrick. This is when I had a job, so I'm buying albums, and I just bought the Good Kid, Mad City album. It was in October, and I put it in my PS3, and I played it. Man, when the intro said "Lord God," and it started playing, and then the Serene instrumental came on, and he started rapping about it. Oh my goodness! I'm even getting goosebumps to this
Wonderful
day.
album.
Just oh my goodness, man!
I'm getting
It was just
goosebumps
so
now from
sonically.
it.
Yeah, man. I've never. I don't think heard anything like that until oh my god. And then he hasn't. Kendrick. I'm a Kendrick guy, but his music hasn't hit me the same since To Pimp a Butterfly. I still respect his artistry, but
Mm,
Kendrick Lamar, Big Sean is another one. Tyler the Creator, he makes awesome music.
Mm,
He never has a drop off because he actually
mm,
composes the instrumentals and stuff. So Tyler the Creator, Schoolboy Q, I enjoy listening to Schoolboy Q, Jadakiss, and Jadakiss, he's like fine wine. He just gets better over time. Jadakiss is
mm.
just he's like my favorite member out of the Locks. Big Pun is another one. I gotta mention Big Pun. As far as we talk about influences, Big Daddy Kane. There's just so many. So many. Rakim, Slick Rick, Coogee Rap to a certain extent. If I'm gonna say Nas, I gotta say Coogee Rap. Yeah, Andre 3000. He had some phenomenal verses, like guest verses that just blew me away. And Big Boy, UGK, Bun B, that Pimp C. Yeah, man, the list goes on. The list goes on.
I need to start listening to more of the older hip hop because I'm like I know Nas, I know Short Term Memory Loss. I knew a couple of those influences that you were saying, but like Schoolboy Q, like Kendrick, like Andre
Mac
3000.
Miller.
Mac Miller is my top artist for the past like 5 years on Spotify. It's been Mac Miller number one and then Kendrick Lamar number two. And Mac Miller was one of those where it's like when I heard Swimming, like it was like I knew where I was at when I heard that album for the first time, and that like made me fall in love with hip hop. And then I explored other artists and I'm like, yeah, no, like that's amazing. And I couldn't agree with you about like Kendrick Lamar more. And I'm like, this like past beef with Drake, I'm like, I don't like Drake, but it made Kendrick Lamar bring out some of that like angsty, like not angsty, but like his old few couple of his albums, older albums with like Euphoria and I'm so bad with names, like the couple diss tracks that he made,
Yeah.
the beat switching and way that his lyricism flowed like reminded me of Before Damn. I don't know.
Mm.
I was like really just like paying attention to, I was just encapsulated and I just had it on repeat. Just the way that he's, all right, let me really get into like the nitty gritty of this. Let me turn around a diss track in 72 hours to this bitch is not going to defeat me. That energy that he was providing and everything. But yeah, those were amazing artists and everything.
No, yeah.
Last question, to kind of wrap up the interview. Wait, two questions. One, the first
Yeah.
question, quick question is, what is your experience performing like, and do you have nerves like going up on stage and everything? Like, how do you kind of
Oh,
anticipate that?
Oh yeah, all the time, all
Mm,
the time. I feel as though the more I'm prepared, it's like this build up energy, the nerves, but it's healthy nerves because I feel like the times where I was the most nervous is when I had some of my best performances. Like it's just so strange how that works. Like I just the times where I know I'm about to perform and I'm the next artist up and I'm forgetting my lyrics and then I grab the mic and then I say something, give my introduction, make the crowd laugh, and the music starts, and then that's like it's on and popping. So yeah, I do get nerves, but I feel like those are good nerves, and those are the nerves that just brings out another side of me to make sure I smash the performance.
Last question. Do you have any advice to other creatives to keep going and yeah, not get so discouraged about, I don't know, just to like push back that discouragement that creatives, mostly all creatives get of, I don't know, there's any advice to creatives?
Yeah, what I was saying, I feel like I'm talking to myself too, is for all creators, we gotta just make sure we're diligent for us protecting our energy, because when we're in that creative zone, like this is a thing where it's not necessarily people say, I'm chasing the bag, I'm securing the bag. The real bag is your energy. If your energy is right, you're gonna attract all the other things that's just meant for you. But you have to protect it. Be mindful of how much time you spend on social media. Be mindful of the people who you surround yourself with. That's very important. The strain, you may be harnessing your energy so much to where you can't help but people just come on to you. It's like people see your star. Like, you may not be famous, but you're a star in your own right. You have this celebrity energy you start cultivating, and you just have to make sure you set your boundaries, and that's just going to train you up when you do gain that affluence and your work creates that influence for others. You'll be able to handle it because of the way you handle and delegate your energy. That's just an important key, just protecting your energy and making sure that the more you do that and you just use your strong discernment, you'll be able to focus better. Like I like to say, less is more, simplicity is key. That's been my motto since December of last year. And this is the Mamba year. This is 2024. This is the Mamba year. So I've been using my Mamba mentality and making sure that whatever I set my mind to, whatever I see in my head is pretty much gonna manifest. So I make sure that I just have clear thoughts. If I have a negative thought or something, it could be anything. If I have some like low vibrational or low, if I'm at a low frequency, but I'm having doubt, maybe depression, whatever. It's just a moment, and I'll just perceive it as a cloud in the sky, and it just passes by. But less is more. Simplicity is key. Protect your energy at all costs. You'll be all right. Yeah,
Beautiful words. I love that. That was wonderful advice.
yeah,
Where can people find you? What are your socials? And yeah.
yeah. Well, my Facebook page is Dave UOG. My Instagram is at Dave underscore UOG. My SoundCloud is Dave UOG. And I'm going to be releasing some material. I got some things coming up later this year, the last quarter of the year. I'm really excited. I'm actually working some things out now as far as the details. I've been working, I want to say this too, because I know artists, they get a certain age and then they start getting discouraged and they just like give it up. And my thing is just like my project is called In the Meantime, project that I'm about to release. And I was thinking to myself, I saw myself touring around the world and expressing my artistry in my mid 20s, but it didn't work out that way. I said, I'm so glad that I kept writing and kept being inspired and motivated because I had to experience some things in life. And with those things in life, now I even have a greater message for my music. When I'm meeting people or when they hear it, they tell me like, man, your energy is so amazing that they give me these beautiful compliments and it coincides to my brand, Dave UOG. The side of vision, of lifting our game coincides with just who I am as a person. And now I have a story. I have more of a story with my music, and I have just things where next year I just want to constantly, consistently roll out my content, roll out my music, share my story because it's not common. It's not for what I've experienced the last 2 years. It's definitely not common, but I'm a type of person where I'm not a victim. I have the victory. I've been tested. So now I just want to share my testimony, and I'm just locking in the next 10 years from now. 10 years, we can look back on this interview and be like, wow, like this is where we were at and look where we are now. You know what I'm saying? And stay inspired. So people say it's crazy now with social media, but people in their late 20s, they be like, oh, I'm getting old. Like, are you serious? Late 20s, early 30s? Like, if you live another 30 years, come on.
Yeah.
I feel like age is when you really can't. You have to have someone walk you to the bathroom, bathe you. You can like barely. You can't work anymore. That type of thing. Like man, I'm just like bro. I'm in the prime of my youth. You know what I'm saying? For it's just certain things, and man, it's just ageism. It's just crazy how people view age, and I'm like, man, it's just how you taking care of yourself, and then because that's why in the beginning of the interview I said I'm in my thriving 30s because of all the experiences and all the lessons I've learned in my 20s. So now I know what is what. I have 10 years of information of data, like what works and what doesn't work. The people who are for me and the people who are not, and it's real simple. And I try to bring people in and rekindle certain friendships and relationships and stuff, and I'm like, no, I said this is not working because you're so busy you're so worried about how bright I shine or how big I may blow up. If you really want the best for somebody, it shouldn't be that way. It should be like, hey, I walk to independent artists, they're so talented. I'm just like, hey, why are you not on the road touring? I put it in their head so they can start thinking like, yo, why am I not on the road touring? And there's some people they give me some artists give me some interesting answers. And for me, I said no. I'm going to set myself up business wise to make sure, like, hey, I can have longevity in this thing so I can take care of myself and my family. And this is this is entertainment, and this is the entertainment business, and it's very lucrative, and it's potentially generational wealth. And if you have a talent in anything, you want to harness it to the best of your ability because it's that energy that I was talking about. And if you cultivate that, if you transmute that energy, then it could turn into the wealth that we're born with. It's just materializing.
Most definitely, most
Yeah.
definitely. First thing I want to say, definitely going to be checking out the new releases and promoting that every way I can when you release it. And two,
Yeah.
I know so many 45-year-olds who are better built, better like physically built than some of these 18 to 20-year-olds who are saying not like late 20s to 30-year-olds are old, quote unquote. So I'm like, every time I see people
Yeah.
saying that, I'm like, nah, like, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
The mindset that like social media has given. And
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
It's crazy to see. And yeah, I really love your message of your energy, your message, especially with what you just said of giving people their platform and encouraging people to be like, yo, go out and tour, go out, just like keep pushing through it, build your brand so you're better set up for not just now in the moment, but a decade from now, 2 decades now, 100 years from now to set up your grandchildren, your great grandchildren, your great
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 grants,
grandchildren. So
absolutely.
it's not like about like the immediate money or money that you see coming in. It's about, all right, I see this money coming in. How do I build longevity out of it and everything and
Yeah, yeah,
create a brand to support
absolutely.
myself and my family for decades to come?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I love the most of what I do because with my lyrics, it's very intentional and it's like my great great grandchildren. It's like a library, the UOG library. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
So they'll be listening to my lyrics and they'll be learning from it, and there'll be those gems for life for them.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? And that's what my top five, especially Tupac Shakur. I mean, I was listening to him, Ice Cube. Like it was a certain rappers where I was just KRS-One. I forgot to mention him. There's certain rappers where I was just learning as I was listening, and I said, "Hey, what
mm,
KRS-One likes to say, this is edutainment. You know, it
mm,
can be edutainment." So I know for me during the pandemic, what was interesting was the number one song on the Billboard charts for majority of the year in 2020 was WAP by Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi
mm,
B. I'm like, and these are the times we live in. I know, like, but there's so much going on. You know what I'm saying? It was a
mm,
pro, it was a war overseas, even though it wasn't really in the public. There was the pandemic, of course, the world shut down, election year. It was a lot of things going on. And then we're talking about wet ass pussy. When the future generations are listening to me, it's like, nah, I want my content and the music to be a timestamp of what was going on in that time. And it can also obviously be something that you can dance to make you feel good, but also something that you can learn from, and stand the test of time. So that's what
mm.
part of the project is called. That's what the meaning of the project. In the meantime, that's what that's about.
I'm really looking forward to when you release it. I'm like on the edge of my seat because I'm like, after hearing your music now that you have released, I'm just so excited for that next level, that next jump, that the messages that you're bringing out, and just I don't know, I'm just so giddy just thinking about it.
Yeah, man. Same here as I'm talking about it because again, I'm in my thriving 30s, so now I got to
Mm,
professionally. I've been doing it for a while, but now I got to professionally market myself and get it out there and just give people a choice of, hey, do I rock with his music? Is this my vibe or is it not? But I just want to put myself in the best position with the people who I have around me now. Put myself in the best position to be heard because a lot of great artists go unheard.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I definitely hear that, and it's a shame.
yeah.
Um,
I know. I'm focused. I'm locked in. I can't express it enough. I'm just so locked in, so focused, and when the attention goes, the energy flows. So my attention is like just fully on my concept, the lyrics, and when I was in the studio recording thing, and I was just how can I consistently, because with the things that I'm talking about, I can consistently like market it as a message within the message. I can market it and promote it for the next 2 years, and then just circulate it as an independent
yes,
artist.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And on that note, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.